Hey everyone, welcome to Zotian Epoch episode 24. Um, the party is deep in the Red Forest right now. They are hunting down the cults, approaching their headquarters to try and sort out whatever the heck has been going on and plaguing the peoples of this area. They recently they recently reunited with Crasted, who thought he had found the party, but was with a group of shapeshifting harpies. A battle ensued. The party discovered their shack that they were living at was full of human bodies and other various forms of debauchery. They decided to sleep outside. I can understand why. In the middle of the night, a cult patrol came through their camp, which ensued a battle that neither party was prepared for. After defeating the cults, the party is now sleeping soundly, and it's morning. The sun is peeking through the green leaves and the red bark, giving a sort of sickly pink hue throughout the morning. The sun is rising. Krast is feeling quite refreshed and a bit more skillful. He has leveled up to level 4. Everyone else, please run a long rest if you have not yet. And welcome to the morning. You may now have the floor.
Hmm. Um, had something in mind, but then my brain forgetting.
That's
Um,
okay.
so as a as a kind of rested up and things have settled down after the cult. Uh, Guardian's gonna pose the question of should we what should we do with the bodies of these people? We shouldn't leave them out in case they're found out somewhere. Maybe
Well,
give them a nice grave or something.
I no, these people don't deserve a grave. I was just gonna toss them in that house over there.
Hmm. If whatever you whatever you think is best, but I still think I think it might be we need to figure something out with them. We can't just leave them out like this.
There is also one body that's kind of just out in the woods. It's kind of just there. I should state. I mean, I could do what I did last time and put them on spikes, but that'll take me like 3 hours to do. Looks at all the bodies, make that 4.
There are
But
at least a dozen or more bodies strewn about the campsite. Y'all were quite tired and just sort of went to bed last night. It's a bloody scene.
yeah, no, make that more like the entire day to put these chuckle fucks on spikes.
Do we really want to resort to the same level of function as them?
Oh, no, of course not. But, I mean, if they aren't going to respect us, then why should we respect them? That's my personal opinion. But
Because
again, I was just gonna.
we are better than them.
Leo looks up and thinks for a moment. I'm not. But I will do this, though. Why don't we put them all in the house and then light it on fire?
Hmm.
That way we get rid of the house, and the bodies at the same time.
Akris is packing up his tent and just kind of looks over at you, Leo. Doesn't say anything.
I just.
I mean, unless the house is literally alive, which I haven't seen anything to make that specify that it is alive. But, that's just my opinion. I mean, if you really want to, we can just leave them out here, put them into a pile, and then burn the corpses there. But, six one, half dozen the other. I'm not burying these fucks. That's what I'm essentially getting at, I should specify. I'll help get rid of the corpses, sure. That's not a problem. But I'm not burying them. That's going to take, the rest of the day. Compared to me just putting them all on spikes, it's going to take the entire day just to bury them all.
I just. Do whatever you wish. I am just pointing out that we can be a lot better than them and show them some degree of modesty. We don't have to resort ourselves to barbarity.
How is it barbarity to burn a corpse? Honestly, that's much more efficient.
It is barbarity to. I'm talking on the principle that. I'm talking on the principle the fact that originally your standing was for them to not have any sort of funeral rite at all. If you wish to burn the corpse, so be it. That's not what I'm arguing. I am just still stating the point of we can be better than them. If there is a chance we might be able to, the ones that were just initiated, we might be able to convince them to change their minds, or at least see that what they're learning is wrong.
And I'm not disagreeing with that whatsoever.
I'm just stating personal feelings here, that is all.
I got you.
You're more than welcome. Again, I would prefer.
You want to give them at least some form of a funeral, yes?
Yes.
Okay. I can do that. That is not a problem at all. I will begin the process of starting a funeral for these guys. I'm going to need a lot of wood.
Alright.
I can help gather that.
Great. Leo begins getting all of the bodies kind of in a row, He sets them up in a row and gets them kind of stacked on top of each other, kind of making a half a really bad pyramid, if you will.
All right.
And then he then he gets a bunch of wood and puts it around it to make a funeral pyre.
Gotcha. Crested spends some
And he
time heading out into the woods and grabs a bunch of wood to assist. Snapping off branches, carrying them back and forth. Just kind of helping you out. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were about to say something. I didn't mean to derail your train of thought.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. He's helping. That's honestly great. That'll cut it down by at least a couple of hours, hopefully. Once the wood is gathered, once it's all gathered and everything, he kind of just puts it around him, gets some lantern oil, throws that on it, grabs some more oil, throws that on it, and kind of just splashes it around to, make it nice and, what's the word? Flammable. And then
Yeah.
he takes a torch and throws it on it, and then whoosh.
As you're watching this, Krasta just kind of stares at it, not really sure what to say. You can see the flames flickering off his metallic body. He looks lost in thought.
What's up, buddy?
Oh,
You look like you're
nothing.
thinking about something too hard.
No, I just vague memories from around here, and I'm not really sure what's going on about that. I'm glad you put them to rest.
Yeah.
As the bodies burn, for the subscription. As the bodies burn, that's interesting. The visuals came back. They just disappeared for a while, and now they're back. Whatever. Computers. For the notification. As that's going on, Cresta just sort of helps clean up the camp a little bit. He looks at the house.
Are we gonna do anything with this, or just gonna leave it as is?
What is it that he's talking about?
The house.
I mean, it's a house, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't
I just
I don't really see what we can do with it, in all honesty. It's just a house. If they're using it, they'll probably come back to like check it out or something, I guess.
fair enough.
I mean, if we really want to, we could just burn it to the ground, but it's not like we can actually use it for anything.
As much as I wish fire would solve all our problems, I don't know that it would change anything.
Oh, of
But
course not. I trust me. I mean, fire is a good solver of many things, but it doesn't solve cults.
no, not in this sense anyway.
I mean, in all honesty, it might be a good thing to like set some traps up inside and like, I don't know, make it seem like there was people in there for a while or something, and like, you know, set traps inside and like catch a couple of them off guard. But
I feel
right
like
now
we
it's
have
just a
bigger
house in the
fish.
middle of the woods.
Yeah, I feel like we have bigger fish to fry, perhaps.
Fish fry. I would kill for some fish right now.
I wish I knew what that tasted like.
I mean, honestly, it depends on the fried fish. To be completely honest, it freshwater fish don't always go so good fried, but when it's like saltwater fish and you get them just right, that's good stuff. Freshwater fish are better roasted over a fire and grilled with some salt. Oh, salt grilled fish. Oh, best campfire food.
I'll have to take your word for it. Sadly, I can't try it myself.
Maybe one day when we find a way to get you an upgrade, we can actually get you to some food you can taste.
That seems like an interesting goal. I've never really thought about it. At least not while traveling
Well,
with
you
you
got
all.
it. I mean, if you got a goal in mind, we can always try and help you with it.
If it happens, it happens.
True. Damn, now I want some goddamn fish. Yeah, well, whatever. We gotta get going. The hunt's just begun.
Crested nods. Acris is packed up and ready to go. Sebastian, what are you up to?
Just kinda hanging out.
For sure. I gather that the party has finished up. It's now about midday. Where would you like to go? Or what would you like to do?
So, I know the direction of their base, at the very least. At least I think I do from what I found out last night.
I mean, that's as good as lead of any.
The
Other than
problems, the main issues, I guess we could call it. We got a cart and the camel, so getting them, making sure they're safe because we're probably gonna need a quick exit is probably the smart decision. The problem is that we only have one camel when this is a 2-camel cart.
yeah, not even sure we should ride in it just to help the camel out, you know?
Yeah, considering the chair in there as well. So, I guess, I mean,
Is it not
there's a
safer
lot of
with us?
problems. Eh,
I personally don't want to leave my chair behind, but I understand
Yeah,
we're trying to do
neither
something.
do I. I don't want to leave that behind either. I mean, we could. Well, no, that would probably be a bad idea too. Then we got to try to get it over the goddamn canyon too. Oh God, this is gonna be a pain in the ass.
That's after we defeat the cult. I don't think we need to worry about it right now.
Yeah, maybe there's another way out of this goddamn forest that doesn't have us cross over a fucking 100-foot drop.
Well, there was another bridge about a mile up the road, but, well, I was gonna say you led me across it, but it wasn't you. It was the harpies. But yeah, it's wide enough for the cart.
Oh, well, I mean, that's handy then.
I mean,
guess
that's
we'll
how I got it
use-
across here.
Oh, I thought they Okay, cool.
Thought they would.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought they just magicked you across or some shit. They were weird harpies I wasn't expecting. Then again, they did have a trapped bridge. So why wouldn't they have a spare bridge if one of them was trapped? A mile away? We would have seen that, wouldn't we? Maybe they
Not in this
camouflaged
forest.
it?
Far too thick.
Well, whatever. My brain doesn't feel like thinking about it right now, anyways. We should.
Also, I would have known something was suspect if you were doing magic that you're not normally doing.
Well, I mean, that's true. I mean, the most magical ones here are those three. And he points at everybody else in the party.
Crested looks and nods.
We should probably. if this house is the halfway point towards our destination, we should probably the tower that we have been told about isn't in sight anywhere, is it?
It is not. You're surrounded by a very thick forest. It's hard to see even a few hundred feet away from the clearing that you're in because there's so many overlapping trees, bushes, and other plant life. Various vines growing on them. It's a thick forest.
And getting on top of this house wouldn't get me above the tree line at all, would it?
No, the house is tiny. The trees are hundreds of feet tall.
Mm. I'll, here's something I haven't done in a while. I'm gonna go climb a tree. I'll be back in a little while. Shit. We don't have a spyglass, do we? Damn. Oh well. Leo looks around and tries to see if there's a tall tree nearby.
There are many.
He find one that looks like it might get him above like the average tree line and starts to climb it.
Do you have any
Sebastian will
Go ahead.
Sebastian will toss him his pitons and rope.
Yeah, I
You
have a climber's kit, so
Okay.
pitons. The extra pitons will help certainly.
Yeah, have 7.
Okay.
Cool. I'll bring those back later.
Also,
Just
where
toss
is
those
your-
over. You're like, you'll probably find might be helpful.
Why is this not working? What? Leo, why can't I drag you into the map? Oh, you're on the map. I'm just gonna bring you into camp a little bit.
Okay, might be. I should have.
You're good.
I should
You're
have
just
brought
hiding
him
in the
over
snow.
later.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. Leo climbs a tree.
Yes, I'm gonna need some checks for that. So you can roll either survival or acrobatics.
Hmm.
Or athletics.
Let's go. Survival. Because I'm using climbing gear, do I get advantage?
You
Or
do.
do I just not take negatives?
You do get advantage, especially with
Okay.
the assistance from Sebastian.
Okie doke. 23.
Yeah, I'd say you climb that tree. You find a suitable tree. It's from your eyes from down low. It's about 300 to 500 feet tall. It's about 20 to 30 feet wide. It's huge. It has nice bark that takes in with the pitons well, and you begin moving your way up, pulling pitons as you're going up and putting them ahead of you. And how high do you climb?
High enough to break the tree line. So maybe, I don't know, if the average tree is like
I'd say that's near the
300
top of
feet,
this tree. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as it's like the he'll get to where it's as secure as he can. So like the last like 15 feet of the tree, like, because reaching to the top of the tree is like a horrible idea when you're actually climbing a tree. So like
Yeah.
just 15 feet below like the top, there should be enough branches and thickness of the tree to be like secure enough so that it doesn't like fall off.
For sure. This is one of the taller ones, and you do get past the tree line, and you can see out around you. The tree itself extends another 25, 50 feet above you. As you're looking around, where do you look?
I look off in the direction that the guy was running at one point. So I think you said he was running west, right?
It was east, but
Ah, east. My B.
it's all good. You see a huge forest all around you. Way off in the distance, you can maybe see some specks of the desert, but largely you are just surrounded by tons of tall trees. When you look east, you see a circle clearing in the middle of the forest. The forest doesn't grow there. It's in a perfect circle, and it's middle of the day. The sun is shining down bright, and if you can squint your eyes, you see a bit of a reflective red light, as if something is shining through something off in the distance. Perhaps that is the top of your tower. In front of that,
Mm.
where the circle is, it looks like the center of it is a good half day to day's walk away. You're closer than you thought you were.
Hmm.
As you're looking at
Um.
this clearing, closer to the tree line, you see what looks like some sort of city. Barely. You can barely see it through the tree lines because at the angle you're looking down at, you're not going to see much. But it looks like there's squarish buildings out there.
Am I able to see the canyon from where I am, or at least the sign of the canyon?
If you look behind you, westward, you do see the canyon. There's a line in the forest that is a crack where it's likely where that canyon was. It cuts the forest in half from
Hmm.
north to south.
Hmm. Okay. Leo, well, up here, kind of wraps. He makes an attempt to kind of draw the basic sketch of the area.
Okay.
And he like draws canyon over here, foresty like circle over here, and he like draws kind of a crude like basic map of like directions essentially, and he does his best like measure distances and everything, comparing like the canyon to his location to this quote unquote city thing off in the distance.
To be clear,
And
you see
then
a
he
collection of buildings, and it's really hard to make out because they sit below the tree line, but it does look like you're seeing some sort of building. Yeah.
Mhm. Do I see the tower?
As described in the middle of that empty circle, you do see something that sits along the same height as the tree lines. It could be a tower, but it doesn't sit any higher than the trees.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Hmm.
I've drawn you a description of where you are and what you're seeing. You are about equidistant between this circle in the forest and the giant crack in the forest.
That's honestly about what he drew. In all honesty, he'll make
Right
it
on.
more detailed later, but like that's about what he drew.
For sure.
There's probably more like numbers and like stuff for like distances and everything, but that's pretty accurate.
Right on.
But once he has that taken care of, he'll begin to climb his way down. And in all, that's whole climb probably took him like maybe an hour to get
I'd agree
up,
with that.
half an hour to get down,
Yeah.
maybe. And he'll make sure to get the pitons on the way down as well. Like, make sure that those come with him.
Mm-hmm. I want you to make me a dexterity check as you're on your way down.
Just check.
Yep.
Okie doke. Oh boy. Oh no.
As you're on your way down, pulling out pitons, you're you're kind of distracted trying to think about where you're at, what you just wrote, and as you're pulling them out, you manage to slip, and you are now falling down. You fall about 100 foot down to the ground.
Oh god, I'm gonna die! Can I... Shit, what have I got? I want to try to use the rope that I have available and a dagger to try to catch myself before I fall too far.
Okay, otherwise it is going to be a 10d6 damage.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I
Huh.
am trying my best to stop myself from falling.
Yeah. Make me an acrobatics or athletics check.
Okay. 20.
Nice. All right. Just before you hit the ground, you manage to dig the knife into the tree with the rope and hang on to it, and you land just a few, or you smack your body into the side of the tree bark as it brings you back around and hooks in, and you slam into the side of it about 5 foot up from the ground, and you lose your grip and fall down. Please take 1d6 damage.
Okay, I'll roll a d6. 6. Wow. Okay.
Ow. You're pretty bruised up. Your back is not feeling great. But you're on the ground.
Oh, God. Why? Why this one time? Oh, God. Ow. He sits up.
That was interesting. Are you okay?
Ow. I will be. I'm glad I'm not dead. That's the good part.
Likewise. Likewise. Did you see anything?
Holy crap.
Yeah, it would have one-shot you, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Holy shit.
Give me
You rolled a
give me
37
second.
damage for those watching.
Yeah, for just because
For the
I-
test,
that-
not the
that's
actual damage. The actual damage was 6.
Yeah, just for the memes. Just for the memes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, there goes Leo.
okay. Yeah, that would have been. I would have survived with 1 hit point if that had been my roll.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. Still alive. Kicking.
Yeah. I'd still be alive. Don't know how much I'd be kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Leo, he sits up and he like leans against the tree and just looks at the tree. Asshole.
The tree does not respond. The wind blows through the leaves.
He wasn't actually expecting an answer anyway, so it's fine. But he gets back to the rest of everybody and is like, okay, so from what I can, from what I saw, oh god, sorry, one sec. Oh, as he like pops his back. Oh, okay, that's a little better. So, uh, he he opens up his little notebook and he begins to detail like the extra bits that he wasn't able to like record while he was up there. So, the journey to the tower, we'll politely call it, is like half a day from where we are. So like we can get there in maybe 12 hours. I wouldn't suggest we go there because if we go there now, we'll get there like right as night, like after night is falling, and probably would be a good idea. But it's about half a day's travel to get there, and there's some weird shit. I saw what I can only describe as being a city, sort of. I couldn't tell at the distance I was at. At the distance it was from where we are. I managed to see it. I saw the tower. I saw buildings. It's literally a circle in the middle of the forest.
I've never heard of a city out here. Strange.
Neither have I.
I've lived by this forest for a long time. But my memories are not always the most reliable.
Yeah, don't worry about that too much. I mean, in all honesty, this was a shock to me too. I've never heard of whatever that is. It's just surprising, you know? And all I can say is that there's a bunch of maybe buildings, from what I can tell, off in the distance, with a tower that sticks out in the center of them. So this is going to be a way bigger problem than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be a bunch of shitheads in a tower. No, if it's a city full of shitheads and a tower, we're going to need backup or something. But I don't even friggin' know, you know?
I feel like we should at least take a look. Scout it out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I got one of the rings of invisibility, so like I can at least take a look around, sort of. I don't know if anyone would even have the magic to like see through invisibility though. That's another thing entirely.
Akris holds his up as well and mentions that he has one too.
And you can turn into some animals, right?
He says yes.
So if you turn invisible, turn into an animal of some type, you'll be able to do your own scouting too. They'll be less surprised to see an animal out in, out in the woods if you find. I mean, there's enough animals around here to, take your pick. In all honesty, if you pick a squirrel or something, you'll be able to climb anywhere, pretty much.
Sebastian's gonna look to Leo and say, funny you should mention about seeing invisibility.
Oh?
I don't want to actually cast it, I just want to...
Are you able to see through it?
Look in the thing.
Well, yeah, I see the spell. Leo wonders if you're actually able to use said spell.
I'm picked up a thing or two.
Well, that's certainly handy.
On a side note, let me take a look at what you've drawn up there.
Leo will like transfer like some of it to like the dirt that we're standing on to like, draw up like, the quote unquote battle plan, in the dirt, if you will.
I mean the map you've drawn up.
Yeah, he's making another one just in the dirt. But yeah, he shows it, It's got some rough estimates and distances and such on it.
Could Sebastian use his cartographer's tools to get a better idea of what we're working with based on
Ooh, yeah.
said rough description of said map?
Yep, for sure.
Gotta just roll it normal.
1 second. I need to see what kind of benefits you can get out of it. What kind of description is that? What are you trying to do with your cartographer's tools?
I get a better idea of like I guess like the our distance and like the terrain we're working with or
Sure.
something.
For sure. 1 second. Aha. Okay. This is what I'm looking for. You can roll an investigation, nature, or survival check to get more information out of this map that has been drawn, and also Leo's descriptions.
Oh, okay, so I wouldn't roll like the from the tools directly.
You could, but I would just say that you have an advantage in those 3 things in using them to decipher what's going on. Unless you have like a
Okay,
more
so-
specific goal with it,
Uh,
because you're looking for landmarks and perhaps
Yeah.
stars to help you or something for directions. I'm not sure.
yeah, I mean, I guess so.
The more
Just trying to see,
specified-
like, yeah, just trying to see, I guess, if I could kind of like more get a little more like accurate of a map out of like the rough kind of
Sure,
estimation.
I got you.
Um,
Because it's normally used for like discovering older maps or things with like hidden ink and stuff like that. This was just written by Leo, but between his description and between the map that was drawn, you can definitely infer some things from it, and also your own experience in the Red Forest so far.
So would I go ahead and roll the cartographer's tools, or do like survival with advantage?
It would be one of those 3 with advantage. I mean, you can roll the cartographer's tools. I just don't know that it will do anything in Foundry, but go for it, and we'll find out if you'd like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll do the survival with advantage.
Because I can just take it as you are using them.
Wow.
Okay. Hey, it's not bad. It's a 15. 3 out of
It's
4
only
ain't
the
bad.
one- It was like it was on like a, I don't know what that the one of them was on like a high number and then just rolled back to a 2.
Oh, I hate that. As you've spent some time in this forest and you're looking at Leo's drawing, listening to his description, and what you're seeing, you know that the terrain going forward is somewhat easier than what you've been dealing with. Looks like it's been some crude roads have been put in between where you are and the circle in the forest. Um, just by the way that the trees are shaped in certain places, you can tell that things have been cut down and cleared. Um, all in the eastward direction, which means that it can accommodate your cart, perhaps at a higher speed than you would be traveling otherwise.
Okay, so we could
In other words,
possibly
you
look
could get
at
there by sunset or before sunset.
Yeah. Okay. I guess Sebastian will kind of relay this to Leo, just saying, like, just kind of explaining, well, looking at what you've drawn up here, we could potentially be looking at a faster travel than expected. Could get there by sunset.
I will also add that it doesn't look like the usage of the land around there is supporting a population that would be a city. For instance, there's no farmland. Leo didn't see anything that is supportive of, dozens to hundreds or even thousands of people. Yet he did see what he saw. There's just nothing supporting it as far as a society living there.
Mm. I guess Sebastian would relay that as well. Kind of, it is odd that nothing seems to infer something that could support a city.
Definitely. This is one of those weird things that it don't make sense. It just doesn't. And I'm not gonna try to figure out how it makes sense, but until we get there, we don't know anything. That's the way I see it anyways.
Right.
My personal opinion, this is my my idea. We take the road a certain ways. When it starts to get to sundown, we take the cart, the camel off to the side, and we stash them in the woods. We stash them deep into the woods, far enough to where nobody's gonna find them. And then we leave Carasted, if you're okay with staying behind for, watching the camel and such. And then once it gets dark, we, mostly this is me, I guess. I'll sneak in for a little ways and get any information I can out of, the city, I guess. See if I can find anything in there. And then
I guess
then
I
I'll
can
make
stay
my
with the
way
cart.
back.
I only
It-
just
it- it-
reunited with you guys.
It's a safety precaution. That's what I'm trying to, think about first, prioritizing the safety, If if we're going in there, I'm only going to be able to, well, then again, bring. So, it should be fine. I shouldn't take too long sneaking around in there, because these guys are fucking crazy, and I don't want to. I don't want to put you guys at risk for, we'll politely say my vendetta currently.
I mean,
This
we are all in this together.
This is just a scouting right now, because if it's worse than I thought it was, God, I hate that movie. If if this is worse than I thought it was, then we're definitely gonna need to find someone for backup.
That makes sense.
Would and Sebastian's kind of looking over this map. Would he have found where a potential good spot to stash the cart would be?
No, you wouldn't be able to get that. Nothing descriptive enough or specific enough for that. It was also very high up, and you're looking quite far away. It would be difficult to tell. It all just looks like forest canopy, the tops of the trees for the most part.
We'll travel for 8-ish hours is my bet. And that should get us close enough to our destination and far enough away to where if we stash the cart in the forest, we should be able to hide it fairly well. Does that sound good to you guys?
Seems fair.
um, you guys can stay back and, keep an eye on Grasted, the cart. I'll go in. If Acaris wants to, they can go in. Um, they can, invisibly be an animal or whatever. I'll just, be going in there invisible for a while. If I will say this, if I am not back, I don't know, by a certain amount of time, I like if I'm not back like after midnight, leave. Just get the fuck out. I probably got caught. Get the fuck out. Reach out to my contact in the city. Go back to the city and reach out to my contact there. Say, hey, some fuck shit's happening in the woods. Here's the info we got. We need some help. Help, please. I guess. I don't know. That's just my opinion. They'll probably do something.
Where exactly would we expect to find them? You had to leave some sort of note or something last time, didn't you?
Yeah. I'll tell you how to leave a note. At the very least, they'll come find you. Like it's a contact, I explained to them how to like a basic way to meet the contact that I have in the city.
Okay. I assume you give them proof or something that they can take just in case that it's you that gave them these instructions.
Oh
Whether
yeah,
that's a
100%.
whether that's a code phrase or an item, anything.
Yeah, I literally pull out a page and write everything like if this goes this way, say this, say this, say this. Like it's a whole it's a basic like thieves can't translation for
Sure.
like if this happens here, and then he'll like hand over like a couple pieces of paper. It's like this should at least get you in touch with somebody. By the way, I will warn you, these people are criminals, much like myself. So watch your pockets. And again, this is just if I don't make it back after midnight. Or like if you don't feel like if you feel like waiting longer than that or whatever, you can if I'm not back by the time the sun starts coming up, just get the fuck out. Like that is the cutoff point. If I'm not back by the time the sun starts to rise, leave.
All right.
So I
Is that
gathered
alright
that
with everybody?
Guardian.
Hmm?
Leo's asking y'all a question. You good with this
What was
plan?
the question? What was the question? Sorry.
Um,
At the latest, if Leo is not back by the time the sun rises, leave and go
Okay.
get in contact with, criminals in the city and tell them what the fuck's going on.
Okay.
So I take it that the group starts heading towards the circle in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Hours go by. Hours go by, and you're trudging through the forest. It's quiet. It's a comfortable temperature. It's a nice sunny day, actually, as far as things have been going. It's now starting to get dark. The sun is hanging low in the sky. It's been a pretty uneventful walk. You've seen a deer or two, various birds, a couple of those giant spiders hanging out in the trees. As the sun begins to turn orange and dark, the trees seemingly reflect that color back, as their bark is red and sort of take to that sunset glow. I need the entire party to run a survival check in the search for a hiding spot for the cart and Crested. And everybody else that's not scouting.
I don't find shit.
We ain't found shit.
And again, with this on
Natural
a 17
20.
and then rolls to a 7.
I would hope the ranger does good on the survival check. I would be quite concerned.
Yeah.
Funny thing
Okay.
is, we both, Sebastian has the same modifier.
It's the vibes. Don't worry. As the rest of the party is getting kind of nervous. They're struggling to. They're on edge. They're focused on staying alive. But Leo, in his particular set of skills, does find a nice place to hide everyone.
This is his natural element right here.
Yeah. As you approach where the tall, you're used to having this canopy of trees above you as you're walking through. Pretty soon, out in the distance, you see that just stops. The trees aren't growing any further, and as you approach that, it can be assumed that is your destination. You can see it. You could walk there probably in a half hour. And Leo finds down the side where a deer trail was. There's a nice clearing, the small creek going through. There's lots of brush around, blackberries and vines. It's hard to see anything. It's a bit difficult to get the cart down there, but you do manage to.
Ooh,
You are now
blackberries.
you are now in a secure place where no one can see you.
Leo is going to telekinetically grab some of the with his mage hand is just gonna grab a bunch of the blackberries and just be like, snacks.
Can Sebastian check that the berries and stuff are safe?
Go for it, yeah.
What would I roll for that? Survival again?
Yes. Unless you have a specific spell, yes, it'll be survival.
And that time it did go 17.
They look like really fresh, scrumptious berries. That's funny because I was literally just eating blackberries. Yeah, they're quite sweet and good. No poison.
Some blackberries do sound good right now, or some blueberries.
Yeah.
Berries in general. Yeah, Leo is you all see him just like holding a bunch of berries in an invisible hand that's not there, and he's just eating them.
Go ahead and add a hit point for that.
Okay, cool. I'll gladly add a hit point for that. Do I actually have Goodberry? I do have Goodberry. Hey.
Uh-huh. You gave one to a
I'll deal
raccoon a
with
long
it.
time ago.
Mm-hmm. I haven't had need it. I haven't had need of it recently, thankfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leo is once everybody like he pulls like he uses the nature around to like cover the cart with like camouflage essentially.
Mm-hmm. Um,
Yeah.
Acarus offers up his ring of invisibility to anyone else that wants to use it for this scouting mission if they'd like to participate.
You know what? Sure. Sebastian will take it.
Okay. I'm just gonna have it casted here for you to view.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't have second level spells yet. Shit, that's right. Damn it. Oh well. Um. All right. So uh
Acarus casts
I'm
Wild
go.
Shape and becomes a owl.
Can they do that?
I believe so. I don't have his list.
Okay.
I don't have his Wild Shape list, so we're going with owl. I know
That's
he has
fine.
a bird.
Owls are common enough, you know.
Yeah.
I
His list is privy to him only. I don't have it. Just
mm,
gotta make do.
he's Akaris is Circle of the Moon, ain't he?
Yes. Yes.
Currently at 4th level, max CR 1/2, no flying speed. So he can't be a bird.
Ah.
He could be like a squirrel though. Or
Let's just
something
say a rat.
equivalent of a course.
Let's just do a rat.
Sure, rats fine. Rats are fairly common. I don't know how good they are at climbing. That's my opinion. Anyways, so I'm gonna leave Sebastian. I'm gonna leave
Mm,
some marks around a couple spots. Try and follow them. Okay? Keep low, you know, just keep low, follow the marks. If shit gets hairy, get the fuck out. Okay?
all right.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Leo will mark on like one of the trees. An example, here's one mark, and one's like a slash, just a single slash mark. The other is an X, and the other is 3 slash marks. Do these make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That way you can, follow the path essentially and not get lost. Because we'll both be invisible and communicating with through invisibility is literally impossible.
Right.
Alrighty.
Okay. I need both of you to make stealth checks with advantage.
Stealth. Eh.
Again, it was on a 16. Roll back to an 8.
So you both
Stop
turn
teasing
invisible.
me.
Sebastian is struggling to keep his footsteps silent as he's walking along the path. Leo, you might have incentive to separate yourself with a little distance from Sebastian, as you can hear him walking. What do you do?
Leo is going to, he's gonna leave a mark on a tree, and then he's going to be at least 30 feet ahead of Sebastian at pretty much all times, but he'll constantly mark certain spots that are easy enough for him to see. What time is it, by the way?
It's sunset, so I mean, depending on time of year, that's going to change, but we could say around 7 or 8 p.m. The
Okay,
sun
so
is
it's
still in
starting
the
to get
sky.
dark.
It hasn't crested over, but it's still in the sky, but quite low.
All right. Yeah, he is maintaining a distance from Sebastian of between 20 to 35 feet on average.
Okay.
But while he is doing so, he is consistently marking spots for Sebastian to follow. And at one point, there's actually a piece of paper with a note. It says, "Be quieter." Once we start getting closer to the our destination,
Okay.
there will be a note that says, "Be quieter."
Sebastian, you've been walking invisible for about 15 minutes. You pick up this paper. You see it on the ground. It says, "Be quieter." It's in Leo's writing. You can assume it's him. How do you feel about that?
I mean, he'll see the note and pick it up and pocket it so no one else, it's not just lying around for people to see and notice. And try to be quiet.
All right, please roll stealth with advantage.
Okay.
You roll a
Don't
double nat
tease
one,
me.
I'm gonna be pissed.
Oh my!
Despite
You're
your best
kidding me
efforts,
right now.
you crunch into the gravel because as you get closer to your destination, the mud is sort of going away, and the trail you're on becomes more of an established road, as if someone's been laying down fresh gravel slowly into the forest. It's crunching quite loudly as you're walking along. Acarus, as a squirrel, is watching off from the distance, and also needs to do a stealth check. 1 second.
We've seen squirrels in the forest before, I assume.
Yeah. Acarus isn't stealthy as a squirrel, but that doesn't matter. He's just a squirrel. He's doing his best impression of that. But he's observing, he can tell exactly where Sebastian is. Leo, you've gone off into the distance. And since and neither of your friends know where you are. So let's go to your perspective for a moment.
Sebastian is currently standing still, wondering if it's the best idea for him to be attempting this.
Yeah, fair enough. Leo, as you are a bit ahead of him, you can hear crunching, and maybe you're thinking, well, at least it's a distraction from what I'm trying to accomplish. So it's not all bad. Plus, you do have other friends watching. As you approach, these square rectangular buildings are in front of you. They're gray. They're almost perfectly square. They're quite short, not much higher than an average city building you've seen on the coast. But they're perfectly square. They're too square. They've not been made by hand and clay. Some of them are missing walls, some of them are crumbling. There's sticks of iron poking out of various crumbling bits of this. There's vines growing all over them. It looks like
It's a
perhaps
ruin.
no one has lived here for a long time. Yet, the road that you're on or next to is quite well maintained, or at least it's becoming maintained. Do you continue traveling up the
Leo-
road? Yeah, go ahead.
No, Leo pulls back to like kind of seek out Sebastian.
You know exactly where he is. You can hear him. He has stopped moving, but you go over to where you last heard him.
Sebastian.
I know.
Oh, there you are. Okay. Leo kind of touches Sebastian's like chest, I guess. Like he is looking, like he is feeling around, like comes into contact. Okay, there you are. I'm right here, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so it's weirder than I thought it was, but also now that I've seen it up close, Leo is also being very quiet about this. He is like whispering this. I don't like whispering on a microphone, so I'm just making sure this is known. He is whispering all of this.
Yeah, for sure. It's also not great for your throat. Akris is unable to
Yeah.
hear you whispering. You're quiet enough.
Okay, so shit. Where's that? Is that squirrel him or is it that squirrel? Whatever, it doesn't matter. So what's up ahead is real weird shit. I think it's a ruin of a city, not an actual city, but of course it is a city, but it's also like a ruin. So,
Ruins.
yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lead you to the edge of where it all is, and I'm gonna leave a mark, mostly for myself, but also for you. If you feel like going and like looking around, make sure you don't leave the sight of that mark, okay? Always keep that mark in your sight. If you see any of my other marks, that's fine. Don't follow them. Just keep an eye out, you know? And we would have come up with a signal for Acarus to like pull back, I hope.
Sure. You've been traveling with each other for a while. I assume you have established some things like that in general.
If it starts getting hairy, you know, whistle for Acarus and then leave, okay?
Harry. Because he's a squirrel.
Yeah, squirrels are more fuzzy than hairy, but you know, same sex one
Anyways.
half dozen the other. Yeah. Anyways,
Well,
so I'm gonna go and start digging around in there, seeing if I can see anything or find anything or anyone or whatever, etc., etc., etc. I'm gonna be back at the mark in an hour, hopefully, depending upon how things go. If I'm not back there in an hour, give or take, just make sure you maintain your distance around the mark that I'm leaving. Okay?
I mean, sure. There's ruins, and I'll have to see them.
Yeah, trust me. I want to dig inside these ruins so bad. But we got bigger fish to fry right now. Fish fry. Anyways, stop thinking about fish. Yeah. Ah. Okay, so Leo will call Acarus over.
From one of the buildings off in the distance, a squirrel kind of sits up on its hind legs. It's like it's listening to something. And then scrambles its way down one of the vines and runs along the road and up to you guys. It's just sitting there in the middle of the road looking up at nothing. And to your perspective, it's looking at you.
Okay, So, Acarus, wave if you can understand me.
The squirrel waves.
Okay, great, cool, awesome, perfect. I explained the situation to Acarus. This is a weird shit. Just maintain a distance from, like, the mark and everything. Like, give him a rundown. Just be careful. Watch yourself. You're a squirrel, so you're less likely to be suspected of bullshit. Maybe. And then Leo leaves a mark on one of the trees that's like, it's just enough into the woods to where it's less likely to be noticed, and it looks like a claw mark. It's, a scratch of 3 claws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's less likely to be noticed by, like, the average person, essentially.
I
And
got you.
then he will quietly make his way into the city, into the
Okay.
ruins.
Please roll another stealth with advantage.
Okie dokie. Yeah. Natural 20.
Ooh, congrats. That's fire. You're stealthy as you've ever been. The other two make their way towards the entrance of the city after you. Leo, you've gone into the city and go speak for Sky's, or oh my god, names. Um, Sebastian's perspective for a moment. As you're walking up to the entrance of this city, they're buildings that they're crude looking, but their precision reminds you of the dungeon. And as you sit kind of on the road next to sort of leaning against the building, you're observing and kind of poking around the corner as you can, trying to make sure that your footsteps are as quiet as possible while covering the exit. Is there anything you'd like to do from your point of view while you are waiting for your friend to come back? Observationally or anything like that?
Sorry, I was choking on my water.
Oh, that's okay.
um,
I mean, I'm sorry you're choking, but like...
yeah, I'm good. Okay.
Okay.
How close am I to one of those buildings?
You're right next to it. So, like, the road has no sort of gate or anything like that. It just kind of goes between some buildings and is like a main avenue between them. So you're up at that first building, that set of buildings in the entrance. You're invisible, so no one can see you, but they could hear you if you were to walk a lot. And your compatriots hoping that you stay there, but yeah, all up to you.
Sebastian would definitely like to observe the building more.
For sure. Give me a perception check for a general look or an investigation for the one that you are right next to.
We do investigation. Oh my god, what is with the sevens?
The rolls are not happy today. It's a bit distracting as you try and look at the building next to you. There's no windows of any sort or openings at the one that you're next to, or the one across the road from you. But if you look into the city, you see tons of them, dozens, hundreds of buildings. As far as you can see, they do begin to... the road doesn't go clearly through the city. It does turn at some point. So you just see a mass of gray buildings. Some of them are completely destroyed, and corners of them have been wrecked in some way by physical or blast damage or something like that. Doesn't look like an earthquake has destroyed these. Some of them are mostly intact and just overgrown with plants, vines, thorns, bushes of various kinds. There's a unique set of trees that you haven't seen in the Red Forest, where, well, it's not the right season, but they do have red leaves and also red bark. They're a bit smaller than the ones in the forest. They're quite pleasant to look at. They have little pink flowers growing on them. The building you're next to doesn't seem to have any way into it, but if you rub your hands on it and move away some of the vines, it has like a lined texture to it in an even spacing. Every once in a while, you get a new bump that you can run your hand across. Those lines go horizontally around the entire building.
Hmm. Um. So those trees were by one of the other buildings.
Down the street that you're on, you can see them growing up next to the street, like between the road itself and then the buildings, as if they've been planted there at some point or naturally grow there, but they look like they're placed by people. They're somewhat evenly spaced.
About how far off are they from that spot?
30 feet.
Would it still be within viewing distance of Leo's mark?
Yes. You're currently standing right next to the mark. Yeah, you could totally walk over there, turn around, and still see it.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna go check it out.
Okay. So as you're kind of peeking around the corner, you notice that there are doors. The building that you were just next to, where Leo's mark is, it's identical to the one across from it. There are doors on either side. They're heavy and metal. Looks like they've been barred. Seems to be no windows in these buildings. Perhaps they're a guard tower or something like that. As you walk up to this tree, it begins to radiate heat. Or rather, as you get close to it, you can feel the heat radiating off of it.
Hmm. Like, how much heat?
It's like a fireplace. Not as warm as a fireplace, but it has a pretty significant toast to it. If you're
Would
standing
so
about
would it
5 foot from
be
it,
like
it's like a comfortable temperature.
would it be like hot to the touch?
You can touch it and find out.
I'm gonna touch it.
It doesn't burn you, but it's like picking up a hot pot that you were just cooking with. It's not something you want to continue touching, but it doesn't like hurt you or anything.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Is there anything
As
I
you
can
pull your
serve
hand away,
or... Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
as you pull your hand away from it, small bits of electricity seem to jump from your fingers to the tree or vice versa. It's like it sticks to you sort of electrically.
Okay, now that really doesn't make sense. Hmm. Good. Hmm. I want to use Wand of Detect Magic on around the tree.
All right, let's do it.
Blab. Since we're not really like in
Yeah.
the represents area, just blop one.
That works. All's well. as you use your detect magic, you get the sensation that you've encountered this magic before, similar to what Crasted runs on, similar to what the Spider Queen herself seems somewhat obsessed with. This magic is not of Zoshelgoth. This tree might be foreign.
Hmm. Wondering, is this tree? Is there anything I can see or Sebastian could see around that seems like maybe this tree is powering something?
Go ahead and roll perception, please.
I swear. Okay.
Hey, nice. 18. Let's go.
I was like, don't you land on a 7?
It was tempting. The tree doesn't seem connected to anything. With your wand, as you're just kind of moving it around it to see if it goes anywhere, there is a deep root system. It does seem like there is energy going down into the soil itself. It's not something you could track unless you were to dig through the soil yourself. But nothing obvious is being shown.
So it's not like something I could like follow to see like where it's like where that route is leading to.
To your perspective, it seems like the energy is going straight down.
Interesting. And what about the building next to that?
It's cold, other than the actual physical heat from the tree, but the building seems cold and dead. The one that it's next to, the top of it has been lopped off. It looks like something large perhaps blew it off, maybe a cannon shot, something like that. It does have windows. They don't have any shutters like you're used to seeing to close it from the elements. They're just open. When you look inside, it looks like some sort of dwelling.
Is there anything specific I see in there?
Broken furniture. Go ahead and run the heck is it called? My brain just broke. Perception. Jeez. Or investigation. Up to you.
I guess it doesn't matter. Oh my god.
You notice that it's a small abode. It looks like perhaps it's one small room. There is a broken bed frame, and there's not much else in there. It looks like it maybe it's been ransacked or something like that.
I mean, is it? But from what I see, does it look like it's just one room?
Yeah, it's a small like hut style dwelling where you would have a place for sleeping, cooking, using the restroom, that sort of thing, all in one place. There's an
apartment.
There's an external stairs zigzagging back and forth up this building.
Look, the stairs just lead into it, or
Like it's the building is a few stories tall, and there's stairs on the outside of it that zigzag back and forth to get to each level. And yes, they go in, like they're part of the building, they're for the building.
Okay, so like, would I be able to go up and see like what's in each level, or am I just going to see the same thing?
You can certainly do that. It might take your vision away from where Leo's hoping you'll be looking at, but you're close by.
Yeah, I think Sebastian would kind of take a mental note of like where he's at in his line of sight to the symbol, so he knows when he goes up there and then comes back down, he knows where his spot is and like where to find, like what direction to look to find the symbol.
Yeah, I got you.
And take a peek up the stairs.
As you step on the stairs, they're stone and they're crumbling as you step on them. The edges of it has been worn down, either through time, rain, or perhaps whatever initially destroyed these things. Kind of slip your step a little bit as you're going up. The edge crumbles off. You make your way to the second floor. It has a wooden door, and when you open it, it's almost identical to the place that you were just in. There's more stuff in it, though. Notably, in the corner are a couple of skeletons.
Oh, lovely. What do said skeletons look like?
They look humanoid. They are without flesh. Looks like they've been sitting there for a while. The skeletons are embracing each other.
Hmm. I guess would Sebastian be able to step in and get a closer look?
Sure. Go ahead and run investigation.
Oh my god, it was literally on a 20. And
The
then, oh my god.
rolls are not with you today.
They're just cucking me left and right.
Yeah. As you enter this, you crouch down by the skeletons, and they're holding each other, foreheads towards each other. Looks like they died right there, rotted right there, and all their clothes rotted away as well. They've been there for, by your estimation, as you are used to this kind of thing, you could guess they've been there for over hundreds of years. Or maybe 100, somewhere around there. They're not as deteriorated as to be ancient, but they've been dead for a good while. In the room is another bed, a place to cook. What looks like an oven to you, it's a bit stranger. You don't see where to put the wood. In the corner of the room is a small room with a door. The door is closed.
He's gonna, well, he's like to kind of listen in first behind the door
Okay.
before he thinks about opening.
As you listen into the door, you hear a slight howling, as if wind is moving through something.
Go ahead and try and prop it open.
The door clicks. A nice mechanical latching sound. As you step in, there's what looks like a chamber pot, an outhouse, but it's inside.
Ah.
And there's a stench coming
Found the
from
toilet.
Yeah. There's wind moving through the plumbing, essentially.
Ah. Lovely discovery. Just gonna step out, shut the door. So I think at this point, Sebastian's kind of observing and kind of coming to like an inference of what he's seeing here that potentially. So he's assuming that these buildings are probably, I mean, at least as old as the dungeon,
Yeah.
which we know possibly predates current like Zotian civilization.
Yes.
Assuming that, and given that these skeletons were found in here and also look pretty old, they're probably just as old as the building.
I would say you could infer that wherever you're at has been around a bit longer, or active longer than the dungeon itself. But yes, it's all bringing up feelings about that dungeon and where you were in the past there. It all looks related, though. Certain devices, especially that oven over there, kind of reminds you of some of those metallic consoles that were in the dungeon itself. They do look related.
So Sebastian is kind of in his head. He's thinking, though, those skeletons that I'm seeing, we could be potentially looking at people from a previous civilization.
Yeah, you could infer that.
Huh. I guess he'll continue up to how many floors is it?
3.
3. Yeah, I guess he could also then, since unless there's anything else notable in here,
Nothing of note.
would move up to the 3rd floor.
Okay. As you do, the top of it, when you enter the building, the door is hanging off of its hinges. When you enter this room, the entire 2 walls that you're facing when you enter are pretty much missing. The roof of the building is blown out. These walls are blown out. Looks like something took out this chunk of the building. There's rubble everywhere. And from where you're standing, you can see the spot at the entrance of the city where Leo's mark is. You have a decent vantage of the forest from here. You're facing back towards the road down the forest.
Potential scouting spot.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, you know what? I think he'll probably do that from where he's at up there, and just kind of look out from that vantage point and kind of like scout the area.
Excellent. Run me general perception so that we can get a read from where you're at. And Leo, we will join you soon.
So just another perception check.
Yes, please.
Come on, come on. Oh my!
Oh, 6.
From a 17 rolled back to a 3. Oh my god!
I'm sorry.
How many times?
As you're looking around, you can see a decent distance. As you're looking around, you can see a decent distance around you. There's a lot of these buildings, much like the one that you were just in. There's some that are larger, but it looks like a bunch of these forms of dwellings. Some are a little shorter, some are a little taller. But these rather squarish and sharp angled buildings are strewn about all around you in quite a vast city. It's quiet. Leo, we're with you now. You've entered the city.
Yeah.
You've seen much of the same things that Sebastian has seen. You have discovered the trees that give off warmth. You are now deep into the city. At this point, you can see the gem that you saw back in the forest. You've made your way quite a ways in. You haven't seen any cultists. There's evidence of them coming through here, but you haven't been able to spy a single one.
How big is this ruined city?
From your perspective, bigger than any city you've ever been in.
Oh, yikes! That's way bigger than I thought it was.
It seems to just, when you take a quick jog around the perimeter a little bit, it seems to go around in a perfect circle. And as you're making your way up the radius a bit, you realize you're getting quite tired, and that it's probably circular and might be miles in diameter.
And in the center of the city is said tower. Yes.
You can see towards the center, yes. Um, if you get up on top of one of the buildings, you can see a red gem glowing in the sun. As the sun is going down, you get a glint of it. You don't see anything that you would describe as a tower, though, but this gem is central and it seems quite large.
Huh. And there don't appear to be any people nearby.
Can't find any. You see various animals. You see deer. You see squirrels. One of them might be Acris, you're not sure. But as you're moving along, you don't get an idea that there's any cultists. You haven't seen any patrols. You haven't seen any rituals or anything like that. The road that you came from, though, if you make your way back towards that, it is traveled. There's cart tracks. Gravel looks fresh. It looks like it is used.
If if he follows the road, if he follows the tracks of the cultists, he starts following that, like the massive tracks that he can follow to like see where they lead.
Okay.
Like where they where are they coming from? Essentially, is where he's heading.
They seem the road that they go down, the freshly paved one, or not paved, but the freshly graveled one, is it seems to head towards the center of the city where that gem is that you've seen.
Hmm. Yeah, Leo's going to he is heading he's heading towards the center of the city to like see what's there. Like he is constantly looking around for signs of activity of any variety that are lean towards the humanoid.
Yeah. As you're making your
He's looking for tracks and all that jazz.
The tracks are obvious, fortunately, and as you're walking along, you're being quite quiet, so you're not too worried about being spied. Though, in the back of your mind, Sebastian did bring up the possibility of someone being able to see invisibility, but you do put that in the back of your mind. Just kind of try and ignore it, because you have a mission to do. As you're going up this trail, you see a well. It looks fresh. There's a trough in front of it, probably for pack animals and animals of work. As you're passing it, you notice that the trees are beginning to be surrounded by little red plants and red giant vinish thorns that stick out of the ground. Some of them are wrapping around the bases of these trees. They don't look like something you'd want to fall in. You take some time, heading deeper and deeper into the city towards that gem. And you end up where the road begins to... It seems the road just falls off into the ground. You get to the edge of a circle where the entire center of the city is sunken in. About 50 feet down is a flat plain of white. In the middle is a massive tower with cascading conical shapes. It looks twisted, wretched, like mixed and mashed flowing bone. It gleams white. There's red crystals sticking out of it at various points, culminating at a sharp top with a large red crystal that you've seen in the distance held at the top. Surrounded it is nothingness. A white sand. If you squint, you can see skeletons, broken carts, broken weapons of war and siege, all strewn about this thing. It looks like a tower made of bones.
How big is this hole that it seems to be in?
I'd say 400 feet across, 500 feet across.
That's a big ass hole.
Uh-huh.
And how deep does it look?
50 to 100 feet.
Okay, that's that's a deep ass hole that this tower is sitting in for some weird reason. Huh. And there's no signs of recent life anywhere?
Run me perception. Or investigation. If you're looking at a specific area, like if you're looking at the tower itself.
Let's go perception first, I guess.
Okay.
$16. So, I mean,
Yeah. As you're looking around, you do not see... Okay. I lost my page. You don't see anyone. It's quiet. It's unusually quiet. It looks like there has been recent activity, but you cannot see a soul. There's tracks going to and from this tower.
but the tracks end at the edge of this hole.
It becomes a switchback. So the track you're on, it from where you were walking up the road, it does look like they just kind of fall off into nowhere. Now that you're at the edge of the hole, you see that the road goes down switchback style into the pit, heading down the side of it.
I'm really glad that the worst thought in the back of my head wasn't the true thought. I'm like, oh, okay. Whew. Okay, so...
From your perspective, this is essentially what you're looking at. A rough estimate.
Oh, okay. That makes sense-ish. That picture reminds me of Dune for some weird reason. I don't know why. Anyways.
AI image?
Yeah. It's not something I would post on the internet, but for your perception, I'm not a good drawer, but I'm willing to use it a little bit for like helping me describe something privately.
Mm-hmm.
Looks pretty epic.
Mm-hmm.
It did go through a lot of versions. Yeah, I hope to become a better illustrator or to be able to hire illustrators. That is what I want to do. But you know.
Mm-hmm. Leo, how much time has passed since kind of made his way into the city?
In about 45 minutes to an hour.
Oh, okay. So not a lot of time has passed.
The sun is now below the horizon. It's starting to get dark quick and cold.
Leo's going to make his way down the hole.
Okay. Roll me another stealth, please.
Alrighty. 22.
Okay. You begin making your way down the switchbacks into the pit.
Following the the main tracks of like where their supply carts would be going. Like he was trying to follow the. Are all the tracks going the same direction, or are they splitting up at all? Once he is at the bottom.
Once they're at the bottom, they do seem to go into different parts of the tower itself. Most of them go into that first initial ramp that you're seeing there. Others are
Mhm.
going around it. Looks like they're up to something, but this tower is quite tall above you. And the ground
Yeah,
itself
so
is a
there's-
very soft white sand. There's corpses all around you in various stages of rotting.
Leo's he is going to focus on any of the tracks that have heavy cart traffic.
Yes. Okay.
So he is following the cart traffic first.
They head towards
He'll
the main entrance that I had, towards that main
Ah.
ramp.
Oh, so they're huh. He notices that they're heading towards the main entrance. Is like, I don't like that. He'll follow the other sets of tracks to like where they're leading to.
Okay. You make your way across the. You make your way across the structure, across the sand. As you're stepping, you're surrounded by various bodies. Some of them animal, some of them human, most of them non-human. The ones that you can see that haven't rotted so far or have a distinct skeleton. You trip on one, and as you land, and you brush yourself off, the sand is kind of powdery and sticks to you a little bit. The ground that was revealed underneath the sand that you were from your fall is red and soft and wet. But not like mud wet, like meat wet.
Leo moves section like a section of it to the side. Like get a clearer picture of this meat ground.
Okay. As you start moving this sand out of the way, you begin revealing more of this wet ground. You put your hands on it, and it's warm. It
And
twitches when you push onto it.
Leo stands up and begins to make his way towards that main entrance.
Okay. You're now at the foot of the ramp. Structure is hard, soft. It sort of changes wherever you're stepping. It looks like an amalgamation of flesh and bone cartilage. But it looks like a pretty commonly used ramp. Run me another stealth check. Or perception. Or I should say, I'm not or, also perception. Sorry.
Also perception. Okay. Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to do that with advantage. Sorry.
Or okay.
I'll just
Reroll,
roll
please.
just plain just plain perception. There. Okay.
Ta-
19.
As you're making your way up it, you get the sense that you're being watched. You get the sense that you're being very watched. When you look up around the tower, you see what looks like some sort of movement in a shadow in the corner of your eye. You hear a small laugh. A slight chuckle.
Leo growls to himself and then leaves. He goes he leaves the hole.
Oh, you make your way back towards the city?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that feeling disappear after he leaves the hole, or does it maintain on him?
As you're making your way up the tracks out of the hole, you get the sense that 1,000 eyes are piercing your back. That you're being watched from everywhere. Everyone knows you're here. Nobody moves. But you're uneasy. You've been a thief for long enough to know when you've been got. You've been a thief long enough to know when people are watching you. Lots of eyes are watching you right now.
Can Leo get a sense of where the eyes are coming from?
Yeah. Roll for it. Either perception or something else if you got something.
I got perception or insight.
You know? Insight, why not?
Okay. 20.
From all around you. In the city. And at the tower. From the forest behind it. It's hard to pinpoint because
There's so
You're-
many.
there's so many. Nobody's making a move though.
Leo calmly leaves.
Okay? You make your way back through the city. Back up that road.
And he is walking. Mind you, he's still invisible, but he is walking.
Okay? Calmly.
Mm-hmm.
You make your way back towards the entrance of the city. Takes you a good another 45 minutes. You're now standing where you left that mark for Sebastian.
He makes a little bit of a whistling, like he makes the call.
Sebastian, from your vantage point, you hear a whistle from down where you're trying to keep an eye on.
It's the retreat whistle.
Ah. Um. Yeah, Sebastian's gonna hop down and start to catch up with Leo.
Okay. You two, both invisible, are now standing next to the little thing.
Do we have a squirrel nearby that waves at us?
No, but there's a squirrel watching you. Watching the spot anyway. Like it's
Are
there.
the
It's not waving.
eyes
It's not
still
waving at
on
you.
Leo?
It,
Are
it
the
would be
eyes
hard for
still
you.
on Leo?
You can insight again, but it would be hard to tell at this point.
Hmm. Meh. 17.
There's at least a few. That heavy feeling of having tons and tons and tons of conscious eyes looking at you is not there anymore, but you can't shake the feeling that you're probably being watched.
Hey, Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
You know that spell you mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Can you cast it now?
Absolutely.
Sebastian, you cast the spell, and you see crouching hooded figures they look like mist. It's sort of fading through as the wind goes through it, but your spell allows you to see the locations of various people on the rooftops, in the crevices, and all around you are people observing you. They're looking right where you guys are.
Oh shit.
We're leaving.
Yeah.
Just leave calmly. They already know we're here. We're going to leave as quietly as possible. Don't say anything. Acarus, get to the cart as quickly as you can. Run.
A squirrel jumps off a rooftop, not the one that you thought it was, but a different one, and runs into the forest.
Well, so I'm assuming what the things I'm seeing that are invisible are like that could tell, like Sebastian could tell they are like the cultists.
By their proximity to the tower and where you're at and the way that they're dressed, because you can't see define things, but you can tell they're wearing robes, it's probably the cultists.
Gotcha. Yep.
We leave as expediently and as calmly and as quietly as we possibly can.
Okay.
Skedaddle on. Um. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, you make your way away from the city, and as you're doing so, nobody seems to follow. Your spell is still up for an hour there, Sebastian. As you're walking away, you keep checking behind you. They're all still on the rooftops, peeking around corners, looking at you as you're going off in the distance.
Once we get at least some once we're like A significant distance away, Leo lets out a, "Oh, God. It's so much worse than I thought it was." It's so there's so many eyes saw me. I don't know how, and I don't know why. But if they are all carrying one of these rings, there are thousands of them. Well, thousands of eyes, so maybe like 500.
Given that they all have 2 eyes.
Mm, maybe if I hope there's only some that have a pair of eyes. I don't know what all that was. I don't know. The ground around the tower was alive. The tower itself was an amalgamation. Leo just continue, like we get back to the cart. We get back to the cart.
So how did the scouting go?
We're leaving now.
Why? We're almost there.
We don't want to fuck with this right now. That's why.
Oh. Well, can you
They
explain?
said that nobody. I will explain once we are on the road and past the canyon bridge. We are crossing that bridge tonight. I don't care if we have to tire ourselves out. We have to cross that bridge tonight.
We faced so many things. How could it be that bad? They only had like a handful of people ever at a time.
Yes,
Not this
but
time.
that city was full of 500 plus people. Maybe, I don't know, but they were all invisible. They were all watching me. They all saw me.
That's
Once I met up with Sebastian, they saw him too.
For all we know, they could have knew we were there from the start.
It's quite true. You didn't see anyone, did you?
well, no, not where I
Honestly.
was. Not here at the camp. Oh, you're asking Sebastian.
Hey,
Huh.
it's honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. I have never felt terror like that before.
What exactly do you mean the tower was alive?
I don't know if. So maybe the tower wasn't alive, okay? That might be an exaggeration, but the ground beneath the tower was made of flesh. Beneath all the white sand, there was a layer of red, and that red was fleshy and it moved. It twitched like a muscle being touched through a nerve. And if the entire ground was like that, that terrifies me even more. And the tower itself, it was made of muscle, cartilage, and bone, and crystal, that weird red, glowy crap. The stuff the Spider Queen was so obsessed with.
Did you see the trees?
Oh yeah, the warm trees. That was weird.
Error, I believe they may be the same.
That's weird. I don't like this. I don't like whatever this is. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I just don't like it. We gotta leave. We gotta.
There has to be a way we can do this.
There,
somehow.
yeah. It's just not right now. We gotta take the cart. We gotta leave. We gotta get out of this forest. They'll chase us down. I already know that. But we gotta at least cross that bridge tonight.
Oh, this sucks. Okay.
If we cross the bridge tonight, we can cut it, and that should give us at least some chance of safety.
Not a terrible idea.
Sebastian, um, keep an eye out. If you can, keep that spell up if needed. Uh, we gotta go. We gotta go now. You could tell that Leo's pale face is paler than it normally is. He this is this is a lot for him to process.
Somehow a blue and a bit clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I gather that the party gathers up themselves and begins rushing away from
Getting
the
the
city.
hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We
We cross that bridge. That is the destination currently.
yeah. So, party begins heading out away from there, running. The camel is panting and sweating. And as you guys are making your way down the trail, you're going as fast as you can out of there. It takes you a good several hours, but less than usual. You're taking short breaks to have water, to take a snack, and to keep going. You're pushing through. It's middle of the night, deep in the red forests. You can sense that there's spiders crawling around you and watching you, the 8 eyes each staring down at you, confused by the bipedal's activity. You make your way to the canyon, across the bridge, and you cut the bridge. You're now cut off from the cultist lair, and you've made a good distance away from them. Sebastian, about an hour or two ago, your spell went away. Do you re-up it and check?
Um, Let me see where I'm at here. Yeah.
Okay. As you do, you see one robed figure watching you from across the bridge. It's holding out its arms, likely weapons, to either side. It's been tracking you, but hasn't attacked you guys. It waits across the river.
Across as in like the way we're heading or the way we're leaving?
The way you were leaving, you have cut the bridge. It has fallen down. It was a basic rope bridge, but the whole party is across, and this one cultist is keeping track of you. That's where we're going to end it tonight, as we are down, well, now 2 people, because we had an issue. A mishap happened with one of our members, and hopefully they'll get it sorted out soon. But due to that, we're going to cut off here and come back in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening to Zotian Epoch, and we'll come back and see what the party wants to do to handle this situation next. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye!